The first set of the day will be played on Akilon Wastes. Spawning in the bottom right-hand position, the blue Protoss from Samsung Khan. His name is rOrO, and he is a former GSL champion.
Well, this guy is a Protoss himself, spawning as red Protoss on the left top position of the map, playing for KT Roaster. His name is Zest.
Looks like we're going to see a Forge expand from Zest. He's not going to be building that pylon in his main base. That's something that we see certain Protoss do.
Now, just talking about the numbers here, we're talking about how strong Zest is when it comes to PvP. And here's the thing, 65% of the games that he played this season has been PvP.
Well, there you go, man.
Yeah.
That's like the amount of Pro League PvPs we've seen, man.
Whoa, hold on.
Ooh, look at this. Looks like we have a pretty early pool from rOrO here. This is very interesting. Starting this game off with a bang, man.
And Zest actually did not go for in-base gateway expansion. In fact, he put down a pylon on the lower ground.
Yeah, well, the advantage for Zest here is that he's going to see this. He's going to be able to deal with what's happening here. He sees the early pool. That should tell him to put down that early forge as fast as he can. Look at that, already sending that probe down there to build that forge, so he'll be able to have those cannons up in time for the lanes.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of players, I have to say, especially Protoss players, they don't go for a scout after the pylon because they try to save up as many minerals as possible early in the game and go for the Nexus as soon as possible. And it works out against something like, 14 pull, works fine against 15 hatchery, but against Temple, it's not going to work out.
Yep, so that's why we saw Zest go for that scout there. I really like the decision to go for the scout. It's definitely a good thing to do. All right, so it looks like we're going to have down some cannons here.
Yeah, first cannon going down and also being safe as possible, second cannon going down. But rOrO not committing to him heavily, knowing that it was scouted. He only makes 4 Zerglings behind this.
And I think that's actually a really smart choice. This is going to allow rOrO to get his queen out faster, so his economy's still in a decent position. And Zest, he's going to start his wall off and stuff. His expansion will be delayed slightly, but things are going to, for the most part, even out here.
Things are going to even out as the cannon finishes up, and rOrO cannot go inside the main base, but his hatchery is going to finish much faster than Zest's Nexus.
I actually kind of wish that Zest canceled that second cannon at the last moment and then put up a gateway.
He doesn't exactly know how many Zerglings are being made at this point, so he doesn't want to risk it. He just wants the 2 cannons to finish up. Yeah,
he's playing pretty safe here. And they can't fault him for playing safe.
Yeah. I mean, some players, they cancel the cannon and they try to play as greedy as possible. Most times it works out. Most of the time it works out. But sometimes, out of 10 games, that one game where the Zerg player decides to make a lot of Zerglings and just attack, that's when it hurts the most.
Yep, it's true. All right, we have a scouting probe here from Zest. He actually has 2 moving across the map. I like this. And we're seeing rOrO go ahead and take a gas, pretty early gas, actually. You may want to go ahead and get up that wind speed early on, or potentially go for some type of greedy play here.
What do you think about taking out those rocks over there?
I'm not sure why he's doing that, to be honest. He could immediately try to start destroying them as soon as he breaks them down. That'll be the question here if he goes for that. If he does that, then I can say, oh, okay, that's smart. But
yeah, but this is okay.
I guess he just wanted to help out Zest a little bit. He felt bad for templing. He said, I'm sorry, Zest. I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm gonna make sure you get an easier third. But that also means that if Zest wants to expand into that third area, he needs to take out the rocks before he can send the probe over there.
Yeah, that is also
the third is going to be delayed for some time if Zest decides to go down that area.
All right, this probe's gonna see no third base here. He's gonna get kind of worried. Now rOrO, he isn't taking his third base just yet, but he is getting Zergling speed right now and continuing the drone out behind this. So we could see something a little bit unorthodox here. I mean, the game's already kind of non-standard because of rOrO's opening.
Yeah, so he is, like you said, he is running up behind us, but he's getting more geysers at this point. He's getting more gas.
Interesting. So what do you think we can see here?
I'm not too sure at this point because he's still joining up heavily behind us. He is getting a Zergling speed, but we don't see any additional tech. So we still don't know what rOrO's going to transition into as soon as the Zergling speed is over.
Maybe we'll see some sword hosts.
He has the gas to go for the lair right now, but at this point he's going for double evolution chamber and putting down the third hatchery.
So he's delaying his hatchery, but you know, everything will start to move into a more standard
game,
I
was
suppose.
pretty much a mind game at this point, saying, Zest, I could go for a 2-base hatchery timing attack, so you better prepare yourself.
Yeah, and Zest looking pretty prepared here. He's got a full wall up, actually, at his natural. Kind of worried of what could happen here.
Yeah.
You know, the Banding Buster or the Roaches could come. But I'd have to say that it's worked out pretty well for Zest, because if you look at this, the worker count, it's 39 to 42 probes. The Protoss should not be ahead at this point. Alright, so the first Phoenix is out. It's going to go ahead and chip out off the Overlord's health. That'll eventually fall. He'll move over and eventually be able to scout the third base of rOrO, and I'm sure that Zest will have a side release since that.
Yeah, so with the constant drones being made at this point, rOrO is just going to transition into a standard game. In fact, up to 51 drones, getting a lair and +1/+1 out on the way for our Zerg player from Samsung Khan.
Yep, so focusing on those melee attack upgrades and the carapace as well for those ground units means he's going to be playing more of a Ling style game, of course.
Yeah, so this puts rOrO slightly behind, like you said, but he did catch up in the drone count, and it just puts Protoss in a little bit weird spot where the Protoss player's like, yeah, I think I'm ahead, but I'm pretty sure the Zerg player is going to attack pretty soon from 2 hatcheries instead of 3 hatcheries.
Yep. And he never ends up attacking from the 2 hatcheries,
yeah.
though. Luckily, there was no overcommitment from Zest there. He just made an extra pile on the wall off. You know, we could see fast ultras. That's definitely a possibility here.
We could see fast ultras, but for now, rOrO is transitioning into roaches.
He's getting that roach horn. And the lair just completing here, getting some spores as well to defend against the Phoenix. Third Nex is going down. Nice timing from Zest here. It's going to allow him to stay in the economic game.
rOrO building sport crawlers around the map, making sure that he doesn't want to lose any drones or queens. The Phoenixes over there, but that's up to 4 Phoenixes, which means that he could just harass a little bit. And when the Phoenixes get low on HP, all he has to do is get out of there.
Nice harass there by Zest, picking off a few workers. And we see additional geysers go down for rOrO. And he's going to be able to scout out a lot with this Overseer here. Sees the gateways. We'll be able to see the tech. Spire being popped down instantly here, as well as Roach speed. I'm curious to see where rOrO plans on going with this game, because he's getting the 2-2. He's getting a lot of different tech that you wouldn't expect. Like, I would expect the missile attacks at this point.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the Zerg player right now, rOrO, is just throwing up heavily, knowing that there's only Phoenixes out on the map. He knows that he saw the timing from the Robo, he saw different gateways here and there, but he knows that there's not going to be attack anytime soon from the Protoss player. So for rOrO, you know, he's feeling really comfortable because all he has to do is drone up heavily, get all these different tech that he wants to, and just start spamming units once he just gets enough drones at 4 bases.
rOrO is taking his 4th base. We do have War Prison that just recently completed for Zest as well. So I'm curious to see how that will play out later on in the game. We have Blink on the way as well as +1 armor for the Protoss player, and the Infestation Pit about to complete as well here. That could indicate we see a fast hive. There's a lot of gas already banked up for the Zerg player.
Yeah, in fact, the +2/+2 is just going to finish with the hive finishing up at this point. Now, what rOrO really needs to be careful about is that, like I said, he was getting a lot of drones. He's getting a really fast hive at this point, but by doing so, he is skipping on a lot of units. And here comes the War Prism. This can do a lot of damage. Remember Rain versus one of the CJ Zergs? Hydra on this map?
Yeah, I
Hydra was
remember.
doing so well, and then he died to the War Prism drop. rOrO needs to watch out for that right now.
Actually, I think there's more Corruptors on the map than ground units for rOrO, and that's why his supply is so low here. He's at 122 compared to 110, and that means he's just saving up a lot of minerals. The Corruptors are going to scare away these Phoenix for now, and realizing that those are going out here, that's going to alert Zest of what's going on. Whoa!
Do you remember the Corruptors are out of position to deal with the War Prism inside the main base?
That's actually
and there's
really
no
good for
Zerglings
Zest.
coming out, no Roaches coming out. This can do a lot of damage inside the main base.
I have a feeling that Zest has completely read rOrO's game plan here.
Yes.
rOrO was going for the fast ultras, but in this situation, I don't think he's going to have the time before this attack comes. Once those 4 gateways finish, there's going to be a crap ton of gateways that Zest can use to instantly reinforce here with these units.
Oh, this really hurts inside the main base. 4 Zealots are dropping in, an additional Warbin of Zealots inside the main base. rOrO, he's instantly making up to 38 Zerglings and 10 Roaches, but it's long time before those units can get inside the main base.
Yeah. Those Zealots are going to have to start attacking these tech structures or that hive. Actually, if he focused down the hive, that'd be a huge win for rOrO, but he's just attacking a lot of other random buildings right now. No critical damage actually being done to rOrO right now, but the Phoenix are continuing to harass all around the map at this point as well. The +1 attack is about to complete for Zest as well here. He's reinforcing more units at this 4th base. The Zealots are going to be able to do a little bit of economic damage here as well, but I feel like if Zest microed this a little bit better, he could potentially kill that hive.
I'm just surprised that he didn't attack the hive right away, because he went for the Swarm Claws, except he didn't have any DTs coming out right behind it. He didn't go for the Spawning Pool, the Roach Warren, or the Spire behind it. So Phoenix says, yes, it did kill the 1 Queen, but rOrO defended it fairly easily. And also remember that rOrO has a nice upgrade advantage compared to his opponent at this point.
That's a good point you bring up. The upgrade advantages in rOrO's court. Generally, the Protests have really good attack upgrades because you can just chrono them out so fast. Zest has the tech to go for that +3, but if we look at his army composition, he's getting Templar, he's getting Storm as well. So he's going to be able to deal with any type of very swarmish style play from the Zerg. I noticed that there's a Greater Spire on the way as well, so we could see some Broodlords in the near future, even from rOrO at this point.
Yeah, well, Void Rays are being added on into the main army with +1 out on the way. Well, +1 air out on the way for Zest, and he is looking to take a 4th base. So now he's going to play the Turtle style to get a lot of Void Rays out and then overswarm the Zerg player.
Things are starting to look kind of scary for rOrO because he's seen High Templar, he's seen Colossus, he's seen a pretty strong Grand Army here. Void Ray is being added in now as well. But look at this, 9 Broodlords on the way.
Yeah. 9 Broodlords, but rOrO also needs to make sure he doesn't skip out on any single Corruptors at this point, because now the Void Rays are being added on, which means that he needs a good number of Corruptors to deal with the Void Rays from his opponent.
And he is building 7 Corruptors now. They're about to pop out, so that's going to help him out. The Zealots spotted the additional expansion on its way from rOrO. Now, I'm curious to see if Zest is going to make Tempest as soon as he sees those those Broodlords there, because we've seen other Protoss try to skimp out on that, and they ended up losing. So
yeah,
I hope that Zest doesn't make that same mistake.
Zest has the economy, he has tech. There's no reason for him to skip out on the Tempest once he sees the Broodlords.
That's very true.
At this point, he doesn't know that the Broodlords are out from his opponent. He didn't see the Greater Spire.
I mean, his army composition isn't terrible against the Broodlords right now, but the Tempest could certainly seal the deal a lot easier than Blink Stalkers, Storm, and a few Phoenix and Void Rays.
Now, but that also means that if you just press this forward too much, then those units are going to get caught out of position, and some of the Stalkers and possibly Colossus might get taken out.
The Stalkers trying to focus down the Corruptors here, and we have some nice storms going down on these Broodlords. None of them getting taken out, though. This hatchery in the top right will end up dying, but the majority of Zest's units here are just getting absolutely torn up. The Broodlords doing so much damage. What a powerful timing from rOrO, proving that Broodlords are still viable in PvZ.
And like I said, just one wrong misstep from Zest, and he's going to lose a critical amount of his army. He lost a lot of Void Rays over there, lost 1 Colossus. And what he was trying to do, focusing down on the Corruptors, is to get every single Corruptors and then Void Rays on the Broodlords. That's what Zest was trying to go for, except he didn't have critical number of Void Rays.
All right. We see the Fleet Beacon go down as well as an additional Stargate. Void Rays are continuing to be produced here, and the charge is just completed. I think Zest, he needs to figure out the best way to buy time for him to get those Tempest out. It's going to take another minute or two before he can even start the production, so waiting for those Tempest, getting at least 3 of the 5 in his army composition, that's going to be the key point here, and potentially a turning point in the game.
Zest, at the very minimum, Zest needs to survive for an extra 5 to 10 minutes into the game. He shouldn't think about moving out and finishing the game as soon as possible. All he has to do is buy some time to get the Tempest out, like you said. So what is he going to try to do? He's just going to try to move around the map, try to scare his opponent, but also needs to make sure that he doesn't get caught out of position. What I really also want to see at this point is a Mothership War. I haven't seen him from Zest throughout the whole game, and he needs it right now for recall if he's caught out of position.
The Zerglings moving into the main base. Zest being You know, a little bit too greedy here, not walling that off there. I guess just a little bit of a mistake by him. And that's actually a great point you bring up with the Mothership Core. How have we not seen that yet? How come Zest has opted to not get that?
In PBC, if your opponent does not go for too much ground-centric army, then you know you don't have to defend against any timing attacks. So Zest was trying to save up as much minerals as possible. At this point, the recall is so useful that if you're caught out of position, then all you have to do is recall and then regroup once again.
This is really bad. Look at the Broodlord count there. Absolutely horrendous. Storm's going down, doing a good amount of damage. Forward blink as well from Zest, but the Broodlord count, it's just too damn high here. There's not going to be enough units, I feel, to defend against this, but wait, the Corruptors, they're almost completely killed off here. If the Queens
are there. That's the 5 Queen against 3 Void Rays, and the Queens are going to finish off the Void Rays. So all rOrO has to do right now is make more Corruptors and go for the attack.
All right, well, it looks like Zest has realized what's going on here. Finally, he's building Tempest, but he had the ability to build those a few minutes ago in the game, and what if he had those Tempests during that fight? Things would have been completely different.
It would have been completely different, and the outcome would have been, you know, still towards the rOrO side because
there's the mass amount of
the arc from rOrO was perfect in that engagement, but Zest wouldn't have gotten annihilated too much in that fight over there. And look at this, Stalker's trying to buy as much time as possible, but
that's what he has to do.
That's 2 rows of Broodlords right there.
All right, the Tempests are now out. And the Corruptor count isn't that high. I think with some good micro, you should be able to deal with those.
With 10 Corruptors, that's still a lot against the 3 Tempests, and all rOrO has to do is start focusing on the Tempests one by one.
Yeah.
And like I said, all rOrO has to do is reinforce his main army with only Corruptors.
That's pretty much all he has to do, but nice control from Zest here. Using those Stalkers to the best of their ability. rOrO backing up off now after he killed that 3rd base. He may reposition himself with the Tempest. They need to be used to the best of their ability here. It's time for Zest to start, you know, picking away at this army with those Tempests, using that long range.
He is doing so. Losing the 4th base really hurt his economy, but he needs to make sure he retakes it right away while getting up to 6 Tempests and then start adding in more Void Rays.
I find it weird that early on in the game, rOrO went for the heavy melee upgrade style, and then he just went into Corruptor Broodlord.
I'm still surprised that he did so too.
It looks
like Ling Ultra.
It really did. All right, so still right now, rOrO, he's got a pretty solid advantage over his opponent. There's just the amount of anti-air in the Zerg player's army is ridiculous here. The Queens, they can spread creep everywhere, they can transfuse, they can go nuts.
Yeah, and usually at this point in PBC, the Zerg players try to transform every single one of their drones into Spore Crawlers and use the Vipers to pull the opponent in.
All right, here we go. Storm's going down on the majority of these Corruptors here. A lot of damage being dealt for them. And now rOrO's decided to spread out the transfuses, though, helping keeping a lot of those Corruptors alive, weathering the storm sufficiently here. The Stalker's getting just obliterated. GG is called. rOrO takes game number 1 over Zest.
No, rOrO just played well. His style today was trying to harass his opponent much as possible in the early game and put him in an uneasy position. Pretty much saying I could go for a 2-base timing attack if I want to any time. The War Prison was a nice maneuver by Zest, but it didn't do that much damage.
It didn't. I feel like if you're going to really commit to that kind of style of an attack, you need to at least get the charge. The DTs are a great touch, but I feel like the charge is a crucial point. And maybe with some additional micro, Zest could have sniped down the hive. That would have changed everything.
And he had the Twilight Council a long time ago. He could have gotten the DTs. He could have gotten out the charge for the drop.
All right, guys, we'll analyze this game after this commercial break. We will be right back. Set 2 will be between Turn and Hitman.